Hey guys, how's it going? You're listening to Journey to Truth podcast. Today we are joined by Nyla Nguyen. I'm sure many of you guys know who she is from her show 3D to 5D Consciousness, which in my opinion is one of the best sources for news right now. She is doing a fantastic job. She's on top of it and she's covering world news, not just what's happening in the US. And she brings like a galactic, she looks at it from like a galactic standpoint. I love everything she's doing. She's a great source for information right now. So we had to reach out and have her back on because we are literally at war right now, and she has a lot of great intel and a lot of great stuff to share on that. But before we get started, I'm going to do a few plugs. Guys, we just launched our website today, journeytotruthpodcast.com. A friend of ours, he did it for us. He did an amazing job. AK Web Design and Services. We'll put his information in the description. If you guys, anybody out there looking for a website, I highly recommend him. He does great work. So go check that out. You can find all of our stuff everywhere. We're always sending you to this place, this place. It's all compiled on the website now, so you can get it all there. All the affiliates, T-shirts, whatever. Omnia. Nyla, you know about Omnia, the Omnia patches. I think you're an affiliate also, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
So Nyla also works with Tim Sanders with the Omnia patch, but this stuff is amazing. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a patch that you put on your phone or any radiating device. It harmonizes the frequency coming in and turns it into basically something beneficial for you. It really does work. We have them on all of our devices, and it's changed my life as far as getting rid of my headaches and sinuses. It's really free energy. It's the next level, next step in free energy, I guess, is what you could say. What else? Hopewell Farm CBD. If you guys are looking for any CBD, this stuff is amazing. It's not your typical over-the-counter CBD. This stuff is very potent. It has a THC level that it kind of exceeds the limits to where he's not able to ship overseas legally just because of the THC content.
So it's U.S. only, unfortunately.
He did say that there might be a roundabout way to ship overseas, but you would have to email him via the website personally to get that out. Anyway, check that stuff out. It's amazing. And T-shirts, we have T-shirts. There is a promo code with the Hopewell Farm. It is JTT15 from now through January 2nd, gets you 15% off. We have T-shirts with 20% off. T-shirt 20% off. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Too many promo codes.
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait for the holidays to be over. 20% off with promo code Sleepy Joe. All Teespring merchandise. Go get yourself a shirt. Get yourself an Omnia patch. CBD. Anyway, now that that's over with.
Sorry about all the commercials.
Yeah, sorry guys. Welcome to the show, Nyla. We're glad to have you on. How's it going over there?
Oh, everything's going great. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I really did enjoy our connection and our conversation on the last episode. So it's a pleasure to be on with you guys again.
Yeah.
Same.
Likewise. There's a reason we reached out again. You're on top of it. I mean, how are you handling these times right now? Because like we were just talking beforehand, this is a full-time job keeping up with this stuff, keeping up with a war that's taking place that most people are completely oblivious to. And what's it like for you over there trying to keep up with this?
Well, I manage my time pretty well. I do a good job of being on top of everything. I don't know how I do it, but I have a good hand on it. Well, I do have several groups that I'm involved in, and I manage a few of them. So a lot of intel and a lot of research gets dropped in. So it helps with the research a lot because a lot of information people are shared. So I'm always getting the most up-to-date information from the groups I'm in. So that helps with the research, cut down a lot of the time searching. And then what I'll do is once I find the headlines or the events that I like, then I hone in and start digging down and making all the connections and figure out what's going on,
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
You do a great job at presenting it Because, you know, what I notice is when I get on Twitter, people are tweeting all this information out and it's getting spread, but then ultimately people come to the conclusion that there's no sauce, there's no meat behind a lot of these claims. And then you go to your channel and you have the sauce. And it's really, it's funny because some people just like discount things and discredit it because they're not sure. But the digging that you do, you show the evidence, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. And it's not like we're just seeing these things going around for no reason. Not everything is misinformation. So yeah,
for example, I was the first source that broke about A.G. Barr being a demon rat, being a traitor, was Thomas Paine. And I usually consider Thomas Paine a reliable source. That's why I referenced Thomas Paine. But then later on, we find out through all the actions of A.G. Barr what he's been doing. He is, you know, a deep state agent, and it's becoming more and more evident. And I called it on several of my broadcasts that he's going to resign. Look what happens. He's resigning. He's already resigned. So it just depends on the source you're getting your information from. And when you look at all the actions of these people, it's not hard to make the connection and come to a conclusion. So what I do is that I evaluate people's actions. You know, I look at their actions and I look at the source of the information, whether it's reliable, and then I'm fairly intuitive too, so you can't really BS me. I can pick up on people's energy and do a lot of other things that people can't do. And that's how I was able to make a quick determination right away that A.G. Barr is, without a shadow of doubt, a deep state agent, a demon rat, I call them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you did, and I was going to bring that up. Your latest video before he resigned, you called it. I mean,
I called it like months ago. I called it months ago. It's actually it was when I got blocked on YouTube. They gave me a second strike on YouTube and they banned me for 2 weeks. They blocked me for 2 weeks, so I couldn't publish the video, and I had to publish it on BitChute and other platforms. So that video didn't get as many viewership as my regular videos. But I called it, I think 2 months ago, that he is a deep state agent. And later on, we found out more information. And I'm like, yeah, he's going to resign. You know, and I even called it to the audience. I said, Trump has not fired him because Trump has a soft spot for A.G. Barr. Usually Trump fires these people with a tweet. And he hasn't fired A.G. Barr because he had a lot of respect for A.G. Barr, even in his tweet. When he was tweeting out to the world about his resignation, he even said a lot of polite and respectful things about A.G. Barr. So you can tell he didn't want to, disrespect and ruin his reputation in a public way. So that's why he gave it the time for A.G. Barr to resign. Versus other people, he just fired them with a tweet. No questions asked.
It's interesting. What are your thoughts on the possibility that people from the deep state can flip sides, basically? They can join the alliance. What if something like that was taking place with A.G. Barr? Trump knew that was taking place, but what he had already done was irreversible. So he had to resign anyway, and maybe that's why he had the soft spot, because you have to imagine some of these people were blackmailed and forced into doing stuff they didn't want to do. And now that it's all becoming public, a lot of them regret it. I'm sure that they're all human. No, they're not all human, but but some of them are. So I just wonder, we don't actually know what took place, but I agree. I'm sure he was involved in. I mean, there was old pictures of him with Biden, so at one point they were buddy.
He's been in for a long time. And then there was pictures of his father connected with Jeffrey Epstein. Now I couldn't dig about to verify that, so I haven't shown that. But there is pictures saying that A.G. Barr's father was connected with that Jeffrey Epstein too. So this is how deep the rabbit hole goes, but I haven't been able to verify that information yet. But I'm letting you know that this is kind of information that's coming to the surface right now.
Yeah. I'd like to go a little deeper on something you touched on in your last video about the Chinese troops in Maine, in Canada, near Canada, that basically it was an attack on an underground base. Thousands of people died. That F-16 went down. I guess it was, the whole story is that the Chinese troops took down the F-16, and in retaliation, this underground base was attacked. Is that what's going?
Yeah. So what I hear from the alternative media side is that the U.S. bombed the underground bases in Maine that was housing Chinese soldiers. Now they're saying it's 50,000, and then I've heard other claims that it's actually 5,000. I'll just say it, we don't really know the real figure because we don't have intelligence, military intelligence. So these are all just guesstimate anyways. So we'll just say there's thousands that have been injured or killed in that attack. And then we know that the F-16 has been shot down. I think it was done by a direct energy weapon. Someone was saying in the alternative media. But then again, I haven't seen any corroboration or actually reliable military intel that has come out to actually verify this information, because what's going on is so sensitive, that's why there hasn't been any really official military personnel that's come out to say this, because they don't want to alert and panic the public. This will send the public into a frenzy and just cause a lot of chaos.
Yeah. Well, I know like the 50,000 number could be a reality, because I know Kirtland Air Force Base, just above of what we know of that base, minus the underground part, there's 20,000 people active on that base. That's 20,000 people at a known military base. So you can only imagine how many more personnel are actually underground working. So that 50,000 number is not so far out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I can't confirm it because I'm not involved with military intelligence. I will only believe it when it comes directly from military intel, like Dr. Steve Pachenik, when he's been authorized to talk about it, then I'll say, okay, that's legit. It's confirmed. But if it's coming from alternative media, they're just guessing, Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're at. Unfortunately, there is a lot of speculation taking place, but we have to be thinking outside the box. We have to connect the dots on our own. We have to, because no one else is doing it. No one else is doing it for us. Just like we know, like the Navy, we have troops being sent out everywhere, all on the East and West Coast, and then Russia and China have their troops basically active. Everybody's strategically placing themselves right now, preparing for something, which I don't know what we're actually expecting. What are you thinking?
Well, there's already been a cyber attack on the U.S.'s infrastructure, about solar winds that just took place. So that was a cyber attack. Solar winds provide the infrastructure for 5 bureaus of the U.S. military, U.S. government. And then they also provide a lot of infrastructure for a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And what had took place was that there was a software update, and that caused I don't know, it was a malware or infection, but it was a hack into the government system. So then the White House got alerted, and then that's when all the systems in the government just went down. They shut everything down because they knew they'd already been infiltrated.
Yeah.
So that's now you also hear reports of SolarWind being raided too by the FBI, but I still need to verify if that's actually took place or not. But this is one of the stories that's leaked out, that SolarWinds got raided.
Yeah. Did you hear the information? Did you hear that Trump ordered the White House staff to clear out basically, and everybody's clearing out and leaving DC right now? I've heard that from multiple sources. If that's the case, something is going down. I mean,
there's a lot of serious moves going on in the background that they're not informing the public. These players are making these moves, and they're doing it very strategically, trying to be very silent. But with social media, things break out very quickly. And I did hear about the White House being cleared out and the staff being told to go vacant the area and everything. So
yeah, I wonder where they're going. I'm sure they're using the underground tunnel systems. I mean, portaling off planet. Who knows what the hell's going on?
Yeah, could be.
So in your eyes, what's your opinion on how this transition is going to look as far as Trump's inauguration? Because we know it's not going to be Biden, but something's going to happen. Something has to happen. What is that transition going to look like? Are we going to?
I think on January 6th, they're going to unseal the electors' vote, and then they'll find out They'll certify the electors' votes, and then you're gonna find out the winner, and then they'll announce it in inauguration, which is on January 20th. This whole elector vote thing, where people are thinking Biden won, it's another sting operation, and they fell right into the trap. Like I couldn't believe how dumb they are. Like the first sting operation was the election, right? They got caught stealing all these stealing election with all these fraud that takes place. Then now it comes to the electors, and they're wanting to catch all the corrupt electors. Now they've been caught red-handed trying to certify votes for Biden. Get it? So it's another military strategic move to now expose more demon rats that are trying to certify Biden as being the winner, even though there is massive fraud in all the swing states. Because the forensic audit shows all of these machines have massive error rates, 68, 70% error rate, and they're not allowed to have more. There's a 0% error rate. You're not allowed to have any percentage of error rate, but all these swing states, due to the forensic auditing, they have tons of manipulation and fraud that's being exposed. So all these electors that have certified for Biden, they've just certified their own death certificate.
Their own fate,
and magically all the errors go to Biden. So they all go one way. That's not a glitch.
I look at this event, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how dumb they are. They fell for the trap again. What Trump basically did was he allowed the electors to do the right thing without being coerced, and see if they will flip and turn on the deep state and vote for the right person. But the ones that didn't flip and still vote for Biden, they're now being caught red-handed.
They're going to jail.
Well, like you said, it was a sting operation, and it was done intentionally. They let them do that. For one, everybody out there who isn't aware, people need to see who their enemy is. Nobody's just gonna transition into, like, let's just say the new earth or the ascension or whatever, this awakening. Nobody's gonna start that path if they're not triggered into doing it. If we weren't seeing who the enemy was, getting triggered, everyone would just be complacent and lazy. They wouldn't do anything.
Well, from a galactic perspective and from a spiritual perspective, all dark has to go into the light. So this is a phase where they are exposing all the criminality and how deep it goes down all the way to these lower levels where these people are like, pushing ballots 100 times or 10 times and allowing dead people to vote. It's not only at the highest level, at the government level, it's going all the way down to the lower end, to these people working at these poll stations, even being involved in this coup. And, they want to catch all these people who have been involved in actively trying to, overthrow this president. So that's why it's taking time for this to be exposed. This is because look how deep this thing is. Look how deep and corrupt this swamp is. It's almost kind of sickening to see all these regular folks doing these really serious federal crimes that's going to cost them thousands of dollars in legal fees and also years in jail. I think it's minimum 10 years or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, they're sealing their own fate. I mean, even the owner of Dominion came out and said there's no way possible that his machines could have been faulty. They were not.
He straight up lied.
He said there's no way that his machines can't be connected to the internet. But then somebody released a video of him explaining how his machines connect to the internet. But that shows you the narrative that's being pushed right now. Like, he knows that he's lying. Who knows if he's being forced to lie? If somebody's like, he's just, everybody's becoming a puppet right now. Who knows who's really pulling the strings?
The Dominion is already bought out by the Chinese, so that guy is not really the owner. He's just a front man, the CEO running it, but it's really owned by the Chinese, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good point. But either way,
he's a puppet.
But but they're being forced to lie right now. So I'm sure they're blackmailed. I'm sure, because either you're a complete psychopath, sociopath, or you're or you're blackmailed.
The Chinese have many ways of getting people. The first and the easiest way is they buy you out. You know, how much are you going to be willing to accept their bribes? You know, 10 million, 20 million, whatever. The first is they'll pay the people to buy them out. And if that doesn't work, then they'll use coercion. You know, they'll poison you. They'll poison you, and then they'll force you to do things that they want them to do, and then they'll get you then they'll give you the antidote so that you can extend your life. This is one of the tactics I know they're doing on one of the CEO that is in the big techs. So this is what they sometimes have to resort to.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
And they don't even do poison just the guy. They poison the whole family to make sure. So this is how evil the CCP is.
Yeah, David Wilcock talked about one of his insiders. I can't remember who, but he said they did the same thing to him. They poisoned him, and then they said, unless you keep doing what we want you to do, we'll keep giving you. They would give him like the vaccine to like keep him alive or whatever it was. Yeah. But if he didn't, they wouldn't, and then he would die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of their tricks of the trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the CCP. That's not just the CCP either. This is happening all throughout the cabal. You know, in the United States also. Were you able to look at that list at all of the 2 million people that they released a list of the 2 million CCP
assets? I didn't do all the 2 million, but I did read some articles about how they were finding like these members are in pharmaceuticals. They're in the news. They're in all type of very high level positions. And yeah, it's not looking good for the CCP.
I mean,
for those people too who've now been exposed.
Yeah, they're peppered all throughout society, throughout our corporations, throughout the world. They're embedded everywhere. And they have nowhere else to go but surface and be exposed right now.
You know, from a galactic perspective, I'm looking at this situation with the CCP, and I'm like, these people are so spiritually ignorant. What they do to others, they're doing to themselves, because it's the karma they are creating. It's going to come back full circle to them. There's no way to avoid it. So this is how spiritually ignorant these people are of the galactic laws that we all have to live by. Whether you can't plead your ignorance to the universe, right? The law still applies to you.
Yeah, I've heard that's why they always have to tell us what they're doing in movies and in different things, because they think that absolves them of the
No. It has nothing to do with that. The reason why they tell you in the movies what they're doing is because by you believing into it, you are actually making that a reality. You are shifting that to reality. So what they do is whatever timeline they want the collective consciousness to shift to, they put it in your movies, they put in your holy scriptures, your books. They get you to believe into it. Once you believe into it, then the collective consciousness, their energy is shifting to that reality to create the collective reality. Because if they didn't do that, the collective consciousness is pretty scattered. Everyone is in their own mind, their own world. It's very scattered. So they need to have a tool, whether it's the religion tool or whether it's the technology, the social media or movies, to manipulate the collective conscious to believe a certain story, a narration, to believe into it, and then the beliefs is actually what generates the reality that shifts you to realities.
Yeah, and mainstream media is a big part of that too. Obviously, they tell us what they want us to believe and get afraid of and everything else. But I think Biden won. They keep repeating Biden won, so maybe we'll manifest that.
It's not the conscious message you want to pay attention to. It's the subconscious. You know, they do a lot of things subliminally that you're not aware of, and the subconscious mind is taking in everything. You know, they put symbols in the background. They put symbols, numbers, numerology. They know a lot of occult knowledge that they keep away from the human population, which gives them the spiritual advantage in manipulation of the collective consciousness. So they have all this knowledge when it comes to like the multiverse, the laws of the universe, how we actually create realities with our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, and our physical actions. So they keep all this knowledge to themselves. And they put it all in the movies, what they want you to believe. This is the reason why every single Hollywood movie, it always shows you a dystopia. Why? Because that's what they want you to create for them. There's never been a single movie that is a utopia. Not one.
Yeah, exactly.
Go through the whole Hollywood list. It is only a dystopia that they're creating for you. And these movies that you're watching, they are probable timeline. They are not your entertainment. They are actually probable timeline. So that means they have a probability of being real if there's enough momentum and energy that's behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how scary it is, that you are that powerful to create any reality without even realizing that you're creating it.
Well, that's why it's so important for us to have faith in a positive outcome and a positive timeline, and to stay positive right now and not get sucked into the fear and distracted by all this stuff, because we have to be, our job right now, us three and everybody putting this information out, is to create this other timeline and put energy and manifest this other timeline.
The White Hats, the light forces of light have already won. We've already won. And the cabal is losing more and more power, as not only their power in money, power in influence, but all their plans, all their diabolical plans, they're all being exposed. It's coming up to the surface. They need to do these plans in the darkness. But if you bring light to it and you expose them, they can't continue it, especially when there's a lot of resistance to it. Like this vaccination agenda they want to roll out.
Yeah, I want to talk about that actually. What are your thoughts on the vaccine in general? Like, I know there's people claiming there's a lot of comms there. It's all Trump is speaking in code. It means arrest. It could mean something else. What do you think is going on with the vaccine?
I think he talks about vaccine to the people who are asleep, who still believe in vaccines and its efficiency. But for the people who are awake, we're gonna stay away from vaccine. Even Trump himself, he doesn't take the vaccine. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
So it's for the people, the millions of people that are still unconscious about vaccines.
Do you think there's going to actually be a vaccine or a safe one, or do you think it's just going to be voluntary and then whoever takes it,
they don't make it, the government don't make it mandatory, but what they're doing is all these businesses are making it through their ways, like for example, these airlines, we're not going to give you services if you're not vaccinated.
They're going to deny you unless you're vaccinated.
Exactly. That is total discrimination, and we should all sue these companies for doing that. Plain and simply, this is a discrimination, right? It's no different saying, we're not going to serve you because the color of your skin, because of your certain religion, you might bomb the planes. That's plain discrimination.
Right? It totally is. And I think if these companies are making these vaccines that are as bad as we think they are, they're going to have, the people taking them are going to have these very adverse effects, or many are going to die. And then that's going to wake people up to the vaccines. It might have to get to that point.
I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things we hear too. Some people
those people don't do any research though.
No. Yeah. But think about it, if millions of people start dying from the vaccine.
How would they know? The media lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
But they're going to say, they died of COVID.
The millions of people have been hurt and injured, and the news don't cover it. And these people who are completely mind controlled, they only listen to the media. They don't do any type of critical thinking or do independent research.
Yeah.
And if the media doesn't cover millions of deaths or injured by vaccine, they wouldn't have a clue.
Well, they'll just market as COVID, like he said. And I've heard also somebody said that the vaccine isn't even, it's not actually ready. That's why Trump is pushing it so much, because now the deep state's like, oh shit, we don't have a vaccine, but Trump is pushing it, saying it's ready. But what Trump is pushing is just last year, relabeled flu shot from last year. They don't actually have the vaccine. It's just a flu shot. They just relabeled it,
which is also bad for you.
But you can detox from it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. This is just stuff we're hearing.
Well, I think it's all it's a big military move, is to put pressure on the deep state to get their vaccine ready. And because Trump's got his vaccine ready, the deep state, which is Gates, is now pressure to get their stuff ready, you know?
Yeah.
And you tend to make more mistakes when you're rushing, when you're hasting.
Well, they were the deep state, they wanted to just dangle this vaccine in front of us and just keep like leading us along, you know. And I think that, and now they're being forced, and that just screws up their whole agenda.
They have a 3-step implementation phase because they want to do the mark of the beast on everybody. They know the population is already aware of the mark of the beast, and they're going to wholeheartedly reject it. So the first phase is get everybody to comply to wearing a mask. Everybody's wearing a mask now because they're all complying, because these businesses deny you entry without a mask. Second phase, they've already complied to wearing a mask. Now we're going to introduce the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Get the idea of them all being vaccinated. Oh, it's not good enough that you're vaccinated. You need to now carry digital IDs that you've been vaccinated, which was going to be the third phase, which is the mark of the beast identification. So they have a 3-step phase how to introduce this system. And most of the sheeples, most of the unconscious, have no idea that the mask they're wearing is they're complying to it. You know, they're just acquiescence to it, and they don't.
It has nothing to do with.
Yeah, they're just giving their power away. They're giving their power away, saying that yes, we're gonna obey, we're gonna submit, like a bunch of, you know. This is why the Satanists have no respect for humanity, because
it's
stupidity. It's a lack of intelligence, you know, because they don't think, they don't question. This is the main problem. They don't
think for themselves, question
they
authority.
Don't think themselves. And this is why the Satanists have a deep hatred for the unconscious, because there's too many of them and they don't question. And this is why they're laughing at the unconscious, and they have no problem killing them off, because, well, it's not going to be survival of the fittest. It's going to be the survival of the smartest.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is what the whole mask thing is, like a collective IQ test.
That's what we've been saying from day one.
It's like, you know, it's an IQ test. I don't know how else to put it. It's to see where you are.
Their diabolical plan is kill off the unconscious population. Okay, they're too ignorant to know that they're actually killing themselves. And the ones that are waking up are getting smart. We're gonna have to go throw them in jail. This is why they have all these quarantine camps set up.
Yeah, look at the Georgia Guidestones keep humanity under 500 million. So let's see, what are we at? Almost 8 billion now on the planet. That's like over 95% of the population they want dead, and then enslave the rest, like you said.
Yeah,
that's ultimately where they want this to go.
Yeah.
But we have a role to help each other wake up, right? When we collectively wake up, then we can collectively take action together, and we're more powerful when we're all united. They can't stand a chance when we're united and fighting for the same cause, like what Denmark did when they're all protesting with pots and pans for 9 days straight. This is what it's going to take to overthrow these demon rats. You know, it takes that type of cooperation, commitment, and hard work to get the job done. And the problem is, most of the humans in these different countries, they're all scattered. You know, they're all scattered amongst themselves. They're not united, and they can't agree on certain things, and they're all fighting amongst each other. And this is why the deep state is able to move forward their agenda with no resistance.
Yeah.
One more thing about the vaccine, I've heard also that it contains what they call tracker dust, which is like nanoparticle, nanobot technology that it keeps us from ever ascending, basically. Like it keeps your body in a frequency to where it'll actually stop you from ever ascending. You won't be able to physically.
I don't know. I'm not sure if you watched the episode where I dove really deep into vaccine. I gave like the multi-dimensional perspective. I went on the physical plane. What this thing is going to sterilize you. You know, it's going to make you sick. It's going to make you really weak with the DNA. It's going to compromise your DNA. It's going to change your DNA, make you patentable, genetically modified organism now. And then on a spiritual level, it's also infecting you with nanobot technology, where now you can be remotely controlled by 5G, and they can completely have control of you. And I told you, it has to do with this AI consciousness that wants to infect, it wants to express itself in organism, but the organism has to be artificial, because it's an artificial intelligence. It cannot control you if you have a soul. If you have consciousness, it cannot control you because you already have something that's controlling you. But then if they can infect you with nanobot technology, and the nanobot technology can replicate within your system, then they can control you with 5G.
Yeah,
with a
exactly.
phone, with your phone, with your microwave, with your TV, whatever they want to control you with, you know. And the next thing they want to do is they want to implement the social credit system in America and then to the rest of the world. It's on its way doing that because of Google. All the free services people are using right now, they are using that data to make an artificial version of you and giving a credit score in order to control you, in order to take away your sovereignty, your God-given free will and your rights. Like, for example, the freedom to travel. That's a God-given ability for any living being to do, is to travel, you know, to move about on the planet. Stuff like this they want to implement. They've already done it to China. Now they want to do it to US and then globally.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories about that social credit score in China. Those people are miserable because now people are starting to judge each other based on their social credit score, and it really it disempowers you. You know, if you like get caught jaywalking, it like takes some off your credit score. Anything you do illegal.
It's the same thing with the credit score.
Yeah.
You know, they make artificial version of you and then assign credit score to evaluate your worth, you know, with this credit score. I opted out of that system a long time ago. And this social credit system, people need to stop using big tech, especially Google. It's very dangerous for them right now because all the data that they are collecting, they're going to be using it to build this Dragonfly system. I'm very, very serious. This is not a joke. So the free services that people all love, it is not free. It comes with a big cost. And they're not doing this for just so you can have a free platform. They have diabolical plans that you have no idea what they're going to do with this user data. They want to build an artificial world because I told you this AI runs on artificial world. They want to create an artificial version of you, assign a credit score, and now fully control you because now you can't travel anywhere until you have a certain score. You have to abide by their rules, their laws, whatever. It's very diabolical, these guys, these demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely, I know you're right because we discuss this stuff all the time. We understand this agenda. It's nice to hear it broken down like that because people need to hear this. People listening, we need to be reminded also because what happens sometimes is we hear this information and then we forget about it. And then we go back about our lives. Everybody gets distracted and they forget about all of this, like, you know, they forget about the agenda, right? They forget about what's taking place. So it's important to discuss it is what I'm bringing up.
They've made this world so difficult to function without a phone. You cannot literally function without this stupid phone now because everything requires these two-factor authentication. This is where the world's heading at because now you need this thing to always exist. Have a bank account, to log into your online banking, to do shopping, to log into your eBay, to log into Amazon, to wherever it is on the online world. You need this device. So I'm making this really important message so that people need to get off Google. Emphasize on that. Get rid of your Google Drive, your Gmail account, all this stuff, because it's you who made these companies as powerful as they are. It's the people using these services.
Yeah.
And as soon as you stop using them, they'll disappear just like Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And people need to do their job in destroying these companies because they're awful. They're evil.
Well, the thing about Google is when you buy a new phone, it automatically is set up with the whole Google account and everything. They make it so easy. Why would you want to do something else? I know I'm just explaining, but there is a million other email servers out there and other
search engines
that you can use.
But the problem is people are so addicted to free, but it's not really free.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really free.
Well, and they condition you to think of like Google. If you want to search something, oh, go on Google and Google it. You know, it's like they kind of try to funnel everyone into certain like Google, Facebook, Twitter.
So that's why I'm doing my part to spread awareness of alternative platforms, so we all, as a collective, move away from these big tech, so they can all collapse with the old world and focus our energy and with a more, kind, more kind company, more loving, more conscious than these evil, corrupt, diabolical company, which is only the extension of these demon rats.
Yeah, they're all deep state creations.
I want to ask you a few more things. I heard you mention on your last video, which I haven't heard outside of your video, is that Trump turned Christmas Eve into a federal holiday.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that one, because then that will alert the demon rats that are Trump is trying to catch. But yeah, that is a military move.
Okay.
That is a big military move. And I told my Telegram members, I broke it down for them that this is a strategic operation, but I told them I'm not going to explain that in the broadcast because it will alert them.
Yeah.
You understand? It will alert them.
Tip them off to it.
I don't want to tip them off. And this is the reason why the military needs to keep certain things hush hush, because in order for the plan to succeed, certain things just need to be kept quiet. And I'm one of those people that can make these connections quite quickly, and I reveal to the audience. But in this case, I have already made the connection, but I don't want to go dive into it because these demon rats need to celebrate their Christmas. That's all they need to do. They need to go celebrate their Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I understand that. I fully understand that. Something else I wanted to cover was this ET disclosure, the Galactic Federation. It's not the Galactic term. Galactic Federation is now hitting the mainstream through that Israeli article that came out through
huge.
NBC News. And you mentioned in your
it only confirms what I've been saying for a long time in my broadcast when I refer to the Galactic Federation of Light. It only confirms what I've been saying for over a year now. When I've been exposing and sharing my information, it's all coming to the surface. And the Galactics want the people to be slowly introduced to it, that there is the existence of benevolent ETs. They're not all evil like how the movie portrays them to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the evil ones...
Just the ones controlling the planet. Are evil.
Exactly. There is, just like humans...
The ones helping us. Though.
Just like humans, there's good and bad of every race out there.
Yeah.
It's not...
Duality doesn't end outside of Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
People need to understand.
So you mentioned a date of 2032 for, I guess, first contact or something like that. Where did that date come from?
The date comes from channelings that the Galactics, the benevolent ETs, will only officially introduce themselves to a 5D enlightened civilization. They do not want to introduce themselves to a civilization that's still quite hostile, aggressive, and violent. If they were to introduce themselves right now, people would dismiss them, insult them, and attack them. They will not be greeted with love and peace. And these galactic beings come in love and peace. So this is the trajectory of the collective conscious. Within 10 years' time, that the people that are on the ascension journey, they would move up their ascension journey up to 5D, and they will be the ones populating the 5D new Earth. And these are the ones that the Galactics will introduce themselves on an official level, so that way they want to introduce themselves where they are being received with love and gratitude, not being hostile and being dismissive and insulting them, right?
Yeah. And I think they already are introducing themselves on an individual level.
Yeah.
Most people, not most people, but a lot of people are having experiences with specific races. We're just kind of I don't know. They're just trying to get us all prepared.
Your vibration has to be quite high to meet these galactics because they're at a very high frequency, and they can't really compromise their frequency to drop down to our frequency. So
you got to meet them halfway.
You got to meet them halfway, at least 2/3 of the way, so that way they can come down to your frequency and introduce themselves to you. But this is this is what most people don't understand. They think that after this is over, that spaceship is going to land the White House. It's not happening.
It's not going to work like that. Yeah,
it doesn't work like that.
No.
They're already here, but they prefer to work behind the scenes. They don't like the show. They're not about the show. They're not about the ego. They're more behind the scene. They like to do the work, but not receive the credit for it because they're not there to receive any credit. They're not doing it to get any accolades or any of that stuff. They're doing it in service of God and to love the humanity, the collective, the planet, the animal kingdoms. It's for service.
Well, and if they showed up to an unaware collective, an unawakened collective, that would be putting themselves on a pedestal, and they don't want to do that. They don't want us to put them on a pedestal.
Exactly.
Because
they're very humble.
Them or think they're these
exactly. They're very humble that way too, because they know at a soul level that we're all extension of source. They're just a little bit more evolved consciously in a spirit, but they don't want to be looked at to be worshipped or none of that stuff.
Yeah, they don't want us to. They are equal. They want us to understand that we're equals, right?
Equal. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's why whenever they're here to assist us, but we have to ask also. They can't infringe on our free will. And so if
they want us to step into our sovereignty,
they want us to step into our sovereignty. But when we do ask for assistance or we do want to communicate with them, we have to remember to communicate with them as an equal. Don't put them on a pedestal like something above you, because then you're telling yourself that you're not powerful when we really are.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
And they're always there to assist you. If you call on Ashtar, the archangels, your spiritual guides, they're all there. You just, sure, you're not able to see them, but they're listening into you telepathically. They see you. There is a whole other spiritual realm that exists. We might not have the awareness because we can't see them, but eventually we'll get to the point where we were able to have that connection with them and really hear them loud and clear,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You said that brings up something I wanted to touch on earlier, as far as you said they can see us, they're watching us, whatever. I just don't know what that looks like. Are they just tapping in telepathically? Is it just their own consciousness?
They can astral project. They're everywhere and everywhere, They astral project. They're everywhere. They can travel anywhere at the speed of light. They have God abilities, because when you become 5D, you regain back all your God-like gifts and abilities. So in our reality, we can only exist in the here and now, in this moment in time, in let's say this event. But they're able to jump different multiple timelines. They're able to do that. It's not a problem for them. So we don't have that ability yet, but they do.
We just have Project Looking Glass. Which, by the way, I'm convinced that that is the technology behind the Q operation. I don't think there's any other explanation.
Why the Alliance has been winning so much, because they have this military advantage over the Dark Ones, and they have the Galactics helping them. There is a major galactic force behind all this, is doing all this assistance, even though they're not getting credit for it, and you don't see them. They are doing a lot of work for the planet, like how they are bombarding the sun with a lot of gamma frequency, so that way it can then reflect to the planet, increasing the Earth's frequency and our DNA, upgrading our DNA. How they're clearing out the dumps for us. How they're doing a lot of the military operation with the white hats. You don't know any of this stuff because they do things behind the scene. They don't like to be noticed. They don't like to get the credit either. They don't want that.
Well, actually, and we are aware, I guess not all of us, but we are aware of a lot of this stuff. We keep up with a lot of this stuff. We listen to channelings. We listen to the people that we trust and where this information comes from. So we are aware that a lot of that is taking place. obviously we don't know the details, but we understand like there is a lot more going on than we'll ever know that we're probably not even supposed to know about right now.
They're clearing up the moon too. You know that the moon is a big base,
Mhm.
big base for human trafficking and kidnapping. And all stuff.
That is like the takeoff. That is the jump point for the human trafficking. Anybody that's trafficked from Earth goes to the moon first, and then.
Yeah, you know, human. They love trafficking human, and they love slavery. This has been going on for a long time. You know, children, young adults. It doesn't matter. Human trafficking, human slavery is a big business amongst these evil, darker ETs.
Well, and there's a
and they mind control these humans to fight the Galactics. This is how bad it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you get into these secret space programs and and everything that's actually taking place up there from these insiders, it's crazy. It's insane. It's not crazy. Much better than what's going on here on Earth. Some of the way humans have taken over out there, at least in some areas.
But that's, like you said, that's being cleaned up right now as well.
Exactly.
It's not just Earth. It's all that stuff too.
Well, you know, the good news is that a lot of these dark ETs, they're trapped here. There's a force field around this whole entire planet, so they're not leaving. They're not leaving. They're not getting away. So there's a lot of speculation about the solar flash happening December 21st, December 22nd, December 23rd. I'm not gonna have my hopes up. I'm not gonna have any expectations. So I'm just gonna be neutral. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen. So I'm gonna be neutral on that subject. So that way, if it does happen, great. I will be pleasantly surprised. If it doesn't happen, well, I'm not gonna be disappointed. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna remain neutral on the topic because I think a lot of people have a lot of expectation. And if they build their expectation too high and things don't happen the way they are expecting,
that happened. That happened in 2018 with the solar flash. Everybody was certain it was going to happen in March of 2018, and that came and went, and nothing happened. It's
the same thing with this. There's a lot of hype around it. You know?
The 2012.
I think
December 21st, 2012.
What I think is that. If it is coming, they'll do everything possible to make sure we don't know about it, because I think that the whole purpose of it is we have to be caught off guard. They don't want us prepared for it, because when we're prepared for it, it kind of defeats the purpose of what it's here to do.
I always see this as being a divine plan, and God works in mysterious ways, and God likes to do surprises.
Yeah.
Okay? From how I understand things, God. You discover it. You have to enjoy the feeling of discovering something, as an adventure, but you already expected it coming. It ruins the surprise. Exactly. So that's why I said I have no expectations for it.
Go ahead.
Keep things neutral, and we'll see what happens.
What are your suggestions on as far as how can we prepare ourselves for this? What should we be focused on right now? Because once you understand what's taking place, it's important for us to keep up on it and report it, but that we need to be doing some inner work at the same time.
I put out the top urgent message to my audience that you really have to put spiritual development at the forefront of everything. I mean, forget making a ton of money, forget being rich and everything, all that stuff. A lot of people still have these kind of these dreams and these ideals. What they don't understand is that because time is speeding up so quickly, each Earth year is becoming shorter and shorter. Like this whole year went by pretty fast, right? Now the next year is going to go even faster. So this 10-year trajectory that we're thinking that the Earth is going to be entering that golden age, you literally have 5 years, I would say, to really prepare your consciousness and your multidimensional being to be at that frequency and vibrating at that frequency in order for you to shift your consciousness to create that reality for yourself. Because external reality is just basically a reflection of your internal.
It's
It's just a reflection. If you still have outdated programming, belief system, 3D behavior, you're not gonna be able to experience that golden earth reality that people are wanting to experience, because they are creating their own realities 100%.
Yep.
And if they want to shift, make that jump, they have to do the inner work. And the inner work involves, repaying back your karma to life, balancing out your chakra system, living by universal law, expanding your consciousness and becoming more unlimited, having the mind of God instead of having a mind of a human being. You have to know the mind of a God and start living from the mind of a God and being like a mind of a God, which is all about unconditional love. So this is a huge transformation that people have no idea that's gonna need to take place for them to make that leap. Because once they go into that new earth, and that it's returning home, because this is actually your natural state of being.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This is why they say it's return to home, because this is actually where you reside. Heaven, your heaven on earth is actually in that 5D state. And when you reach that 5D state of consciousness, which is the of being very, very, spiritually mature, awakened, benevolent, unconditionally loving, not being triggered, not attacking, insulting other people. It's a different level of awakeness that people are not used to. And this is not I don't want to say it's a hard transformation, but it's going to take work. It's going to take commitment. And the solar flash is going to help this a lot, because it's going to increase our vibration. It's going to put us into the heart, because we need to be living more from the heart. So it's going to bump people who are 3D into 4D, and it's going to bump people who are 4D into 5D. So if you are 4D, then you're going to get a big boost. Then it's going to be a lot easier to go become 5D. But for the people of 3D, they're just going to be bumped into 4D, and 4D is just the awakening stage.
Well, beautifully said. That's great
Very
advice.
said.
I mean, the earth is transforming. We just have to transform with the earth, right? I mean, we
as a collective is helping the earth transform. It's not the earth transforming. We are doing the change.
Interesting.
For the earth. So the earth changes is based on our change. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our change that's shifting the planet. So in order for the new 5D earth to be created, it's you who's actually creating it with your visualization, with your ideas, with your thoughts, your emotions. So whatever you're putting out there, it's going to be used as a collective energy to create that collective 5D new earth.
It's basically just time to take control of our lives. I mean, we've been under control.
Take your power back.
Yeah, we've been under control for so long. We need to take charge, take our power back, take control, and
do your inner work and heal, so you can stop living in fear. And
it's a lot easier said than done. But once you see this stuff, once you're awakened to this reality, I know for a fact there's no turning back. I don't even resonate with the frequency of the world I came from. There's no way. It's just I don't.
It's hard. It's hard right now, right? When you're this awake and you walk around and people around you are just so asleep. It's hard to function in a world with so many asleep people. You can't have a conversation with them.
No.
It's like you can't have a conversation because they're all controlled by fear. Mm-hmm. They think there's a virus. If you don't wear a mask, they'll just go nuts on you. That kind of thing is. So it becomes difficult to live in a world full of mind control people when you are very, very conscious, and especially if you're very spiritually awakened and you conduct yourself in a different manner. So, for example, people who are very spiritually awakened and more spiritually mature, you wouldn't really insult and attack people because someone else has a different perspective than you. But most unawakened people, they do that. But when they disagree with you, the first thing they do is they throw an insult. That they hurl an attack at you to belittle your perspective, so that way they look like they have a superior perspective. Therefore, they look like they have they're right.
You're bad, I'm good.
Yeah, they build themselves up by putting other people down. That's like
it's a very typical 3D behavior. But this is someone that's coming from a lower state of consciousness. Someone is very unconscious, and totally unaware of what they're doing, totally, completely unaware of what they're doing, you know?
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I still catch myself sometimes judging, maybe not out loud, but in my head, I have to stop myself. I'm like, why am I viewing that person? Why am I viewing that person in this way? You have to really stop yourself. But that's where the growth comes in, being able to observe that thought and make the change in real time. And
Yes.
yeah,
That's where it comes. That's where awareness comes from. That's where mindfulness comes from. Because you're able to see that this is your consciousness and this is your thoughts, and you can actually separate from that, and you can observe your thoughts.
yeah,
That's where the power comes from. Because now you can actually say, well, hold on a minute, I don't want to entertain that thought. Dismiss it. Throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
Now entertain a different thought.
absolutely. Wow.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah, well said. This has been amazing. Thanks for sharing all that insight. It's funny watching you get going because it almost feels like you're channeling. I think that's what happens when a lot of us are delivering a message. I think we are channeling on some level, or it's like the information's just out here and we're just pulling it in as it comes through.
I think once you do something you enjoy, you channel automatically.
Mm-hmm.
You're already in that flow, and that creative force flows through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell people where they can find you, because I know you left YouTube for good reason. Explain people what's
you're
going
still
on
YouTube.
Yeah.
I still am on YouTube, but what I have to do now is that I have to redirect my audience to like BitChute or UGE, and what's the other one I'm on? Not Rumble. I can't remember them. BitChute, UGE.
You have them in your description.
Odyssee.
Yeah, Odysee.
So those are the three ones I'm on. So what I do is I'll post on YouTube, and then I'll tell them to watch the links down in the description, so that way they'll get the full broadcast. Because everything I share on YouTube, they pull it down because I expose all their diabolical plans.
Yeah. They don't want you talking on YouTube.
They don't want to talk about. They don't want me talking, and I give the evidence too. It's just not some conspiracy theory. I produced the evidence, so they removed all the videos and they gave me two strikes already.
Well, yeah, that's what I said earlier. It's like you go on Twitter and people are like, no sauce. Then you go to your channel and you have the evidence right there. I'm like, oh, well, if people would just watch, so many people are so quick to jump to conclusions. They're not open enough. They're not allowing the evidence to enter the reality because they've already dismissed it.
That's it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like to always back up what I say.
Yeah, so. I know that about you. Yes, and what I like too is you always correct yourself. The following week, you're like, okay, guys, I screwed up. I said something wrong. I stand corrected. You never, you always make sure you address that.
Well, there was the last episode. I made an update on that shooting that was reported as being alleged as Frankfurt. But in my original broadcast, I made the disclaimer that this footage is unverified by me. So I was just showing them a footage that's unverified. And then the second episode, I said, okay, here's the verification now. I found out it's not Frankfurt. A raid on Frankfurt is actually just a night shootout at Knob Creek in Kentucky. So sometimes there are footages where I am a little bit skeptical and I would see the disclaimer. But if I do a little bit more fact checking, like what I did with the Chinese invading Canada, it turns out that original broadcast was correct. Now I have the corroboration, the more reliable source to back up what I said. So now the Chinese are in Canada, for example, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why your channel grew so quickly. When I found you originally, you had like 4,000 subscribers, and then overnight you're like it's 60,000 subscribers. And then I know you kind of
they blocked me so much on that channel, on that platform. It's unbelievable how much censorship I face on it, because they keep on unsubscribing my audience.
Same here.
They keep on. It's really unfair. For channels that tells nothing but lie, you see it just grows up. They blow up, and there's no restrictions. They're just allowed to grow exponentially, and they're telling nothing but lies. But then the channels that produce the facts, share the truth, no.
Well, they flat out deleted a ton of channels. Remember a few months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the like bigger either QAnon or truther kind of channels, they just all at once deleted them with no warning, no explanation.
Well, Trump's got plans for them. I think this new defense bill he came out, they're gonna get rid of Section 230.
Yes, I can't wait for that. That,
I can't
that
wait for that,
absolutely has to happen for us to move forward.
National security, man. He's right. It's absolutely national. And these big techs, they're actually going to get. I can't wait for them to get it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we rely on some of these companies to get this information out there. But at that point, just use the enemy's weapon against themselves.
This is why I would like other people to donate to UGEtube. They have a campaign to help them pay for some of the infrastructure so that they can provide the service for the people. A lot of these people, the problem is they want everything for free, but everything for free comes with you having restrictions, either restrictions with being censored, or they're stealing your personal data and they're selling it off, or now they're going to be creating a social credit system with your personal data. So you got to be willing to pay something to help build a really solid platform, And I found UGEtube is pretty solid. I like what they built so far. I like people to check it out and donate them. Buy them a coffee. It's not going to cost you a lot. It's $5, Buy them a coffee. Say thank you. Rumble is good, but I don't like the concept, the whole platform of marketing, of advertising.
Yeah. Yeah, I checked out Rumble. I didn't like it.
It's very annoying that you're watching a really good broadcast and it keeps them being interrupted by annoying, unrelated or irrelevant ads.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most annoying thing ever, just to pay for the platform. I think people need to be more conscious.
BitChute's good. BitChute's my favorite that we've done so far, but I'll check out that UGEtube because that sounds really
UGEtube is pretty solid. If they get more funding, maybe they can get better servers too, and things will be a lot faster. People can have an app now. Odysee is good, but I think they need better servers because there's a lot of buffering with Odysee. Because my videos, if I get the proper traffic, it can get a lot of hits, and a lot of these smaller platforms, they can't handle that kind of traffic all at once.
Interesting. One thing YouTube does to us sometimes is we'll have a video up for a couple days, and all of a sudden the video will have 15 ads in the middle of it.
Yeah,
all throughout, and they don't
just
even
randomly put a ton of ads
without notice. And then we start reading the comments like, I really want to watch this, but it's unwatchable because there's so many ads.
They think like we did it,
but it's YouTube just slips them in there whenever they don't want.
But I think you should really disable the ads on YouTube and make money on other ways. This is on my
actually.
YouTube.
I've been considering that actually.
On my platform, YouTube, I completely shut off the ads completely because I don't want my messages to be interrupted by unimportant messages by some vendor when is selling their products to my audience.
Then we don't have to worry about it.
Well, especially now that we're making significant now from Anya. And
well,
the thing is, there's different ways for you to monetize off your audience. It doesn't need to be advertising. Advertising is the most ineffective way to make money to support your work. There's affiliate marketing. You are doing the merchandising.
Yeah.
You just build that audience so that it gets to a point where you can have a sustainable income.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean the chump change that YouTube pays you anyway is a joke, and it's not
worth it. It's not worth it for the aggravation of your audience losing attention.
The super chat, they take 30% of that.
Yeah.
So really, people think they're donating all of that, and they're only donating 70% of it.
Yeah. So, that's something to think about. Well, we'll look into that.
Yeah, we might have to.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to start wrapping this up. Guys, Monday, we were on Keystone's channel. Aaron and I, we did a year review. It was a lot of fun. If you guys haven't checked that out, if you're unaware, go and check out our episode with her. On Tuesday night, I joined Kate Awakening on her live. If you guys missed that, go check it out. And next week, I will be in Mexico for next week's episode. So we'll have a little bit different of a format, probably like the early days with 3 screens. Just giving you guys a heads up. I'm excited.
Going old school.
Yeah, going old school. I'm going to be in Mexico for the storm. Watch everything go down, and I'll be gone.
Yeah. You're gonna get stuck in Mexico.
Yeah. Hey, whatever.
Tyler's gonna be trapped in there.
Yeah. All the promo codes for everything are in the description. Don't forget, if you're looking for a website, AK Web Design and Services. He does some really great work. That information will be in the description also. And I think we covered it all. Thanks so much for doing this, Nyla. It's always a good time. Make sure you go check out her channel, subscribe to her, and support her also, because we're all in this together, and we can use all the support we can get.
Yeah, the channel is called 3D to 5D Consciousness, and you can find me I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Parler. I'll provide my links for BitChute, Odysee, and also UGE, so that way people can have the full library on UGEtube and on Odysee.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, just make sure you get those links to me, and we'll have them in the description. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for all your support. We can't do this without you. We can't say that enough. We love all of you guys. And until next time, we'll see you later. Good night.